Is going on, everybody? It is I, Alex McCarthy. I am joined by SP3 and Saini Angi. Cool dad indeed. Look at that, brother. We are Monday Night Live right here on ITR Clips, and we're delighted you joined us once again for another fun week of wrestling chit chatter. There's certainly enough to talk about. CM Punk obviously returning to AEW last week. Look at this man's flexing biceps, man. What's going on? Scott Steiner
It's
over here.
aching. It's bloody aching. Did my first weights in a few months, and I'm feeling it. I'm stretching my
Mine don't
arms
pop
every
like
second
that.
I get. Oh, look at that. That's why he's got tattoos, man. You see that?
Look at him popping out. I have, in fact, a brand new Rey Mysterio interview dropping tonight on the Inside the Ropes channel. So we're going to give you a sneaky peek right here on Monday Night Live tonight. I did have Doudrop and AJ Styles dropped last week. Thanks to all of you that have watched those interviews. I believe we're looking at about 70,000 combined views at the moment for those two. Not quite SAE numbers, but my God, I appreciate you guys dropping by and checking out those interviews. And the Rey Mysterio one, if I do say so myself, is good. Talking about cutting off CM Punk's hair once upon a time. Why was his match with Samoa Joe at WrestleMania just a minute? I'll tell you why. He only found out on the day. You'll know all tonight. Look at all these exclusives I like to drop on you, but you will be finding out later on today. But alas, brothers, SP3, how are you, man? Still in the UK, I see.
Yeah, they seem to want me to stay. There's been strikes at airports, and yeah, I had my flight all booked and ready to go last week. But as much as I want to go, they keep pulling me back here to the UK. You guys need me.
Every time I try to leave, someone keeps pulling me. Yeah, that's a banger, that is, by the way.
Pulling me back. Pulling me
Hey,
back.
Mac thinks it's Tyrese.
just gonna shave my head and shit. You know,
No,
and cry in the phone. You gotta cry in the phone.
Blessed. You're follically blessed, and
Listen,
you look young. So
Tyrese as well. Another banger of his is "Sweet Lady, won't you be mine?" He has got tracks. But every time I think of Tyrese, despite those hits, they said that when The Rock said about his forehead in the Fast and Furious, apparently that was not scripted, allegedly.
That makes sense. Whenever I think of Tyrese, I think about Vin Raines beating him up in Baby Boy and piping his mom. That's what I think about.
He's piping it. Oh my
word! He had her wheelbarrowing throughout the house. Embarrassed him in front of Omar Gooden. I remember that
qualifies. That qualifies
Boy,
as a pipe.
Despite Snoop Dogg coming out with a movie where he was a vampire, the scariest he's ever been in a movie is in Baby Boy. He was a very effective villain in Baby Boy.
Heel.
Sat, what's going on, man? You good?
Guys, I'm all good, man. I'm happy to be with you guys. Like I said to you, I had a kebab earlier. Did the weights first time in a while. Man, I'm just enjoying the fact that there's good wrestling. There's more good to talk about than the negative. And I get to talk with it with my brothers. I caught up on Rampage because that one show I hadn't watched from the weekend. I caught up on that, today. All I want to say is I'm no fan of Slim J. Any group that has a Slim J is not for me. I like Parker Bodo, Ari's brother of the Better Davari, but no Slim J for me.
There is on the table.
What's this guy from 8 Mile? They plucked him at 8 Mile. They couldn't get Jack Evans. They had Jack Evans. They had to go back into the machine and go back to ROH or CZW circa 2003 and 4 and get Jack Evans from there, a less talented version. I don't like Slim J. Who is he? Why is he on my screen? Why should I care?
Well, that's a hot start. Rey Mysterio is someone we do care about, and that will be dropping at 8:30 p.m. On the main channel. But with a little segue, let's see what Rey Mysterio thinks about answering to Triple H and Stephanie now instead of Vince McMahon.
I know, obviously, Vince retiring recently. He's the only guy you've really worked for in WWE now. It's a new regime, Stephanie. But Triple H being in there with creative, you're right in the middle of a big storyline with Judgment Day. Have you had much of a chance to speak to the game and feel out that new process? Or I guess it's such a fast-moving world, WWE.
Very little. I know they have their hands full right now. When it feels weird. It feels empty not having Vince there to at some point get an approval after your match or prior to going out to the ring, but as Hunter and Stephanie and Nick said, very big shoes to fill, but I don't think they could have picked better people to put in that spot than them, to in some sort of way try to better the company and give the fans, what we always like to give them, what they want, and what the matches they want to see and the storylines they want to see. So, it's hard work for all of us because it's work that we all put in to eventually please our fans globally.
I mean, it's a funny thing because obviously a lot of us have liked how exciting the WWE product has felt by comparison in recent weeks with Triple H at the helm. Of course, a lot of the black and gold infused decisions have become prominent. But from what I took from speaking to people like Rey Mysterio and AJ Styles, remember, these are top WWE guys. A lot of them think it's a grand departure from Vince McMahon, for better or worse, right? It's what they know. And anyone who's seen the AJ Styles interview, he was very open about that. He was like, it's very, and he said the word different many times. Do we think, outside of USB3, do you think there's going to be a kind of a cross, not contamination, but like a bit of a difference between what Triple H is trying to bring in to the main roster, which is very evident, what he saw in NXT, compared to what has been the hierarchy on the main roster for a long time that were Vince's guys? And I know that sounds like a silly question because, Triple H is embedded in the company. He knows these guys. He was an active wrestler not even that long ago. But still, creatively, it does seem like there might be an adjustment period for those that are so used to being Vince's kind of go-to players.
Yeah, I mean, we've been hearing like the reports of there's certain guys who are scared that they're gonna kind of lose their spots because Triple H has a different type of focus and is looking for, a different type of superstar. He's not gonna want the same guys. And I know when you say one of Vince's guys, people have a stigma about that. But case in point, one of Vince's guys was AJ Styles. When you really think about it, when AJ came to WWE, he proved himself to Vince and he became one of Vince's guys. So although he's not the prototypical guy in what people think about the perception of Vince McMahon, I would understand if he's thinking like it's a grand departure and it's going to be very different and he's going into uncharted waters because, he's kind of dealt with that in his career. He was in TNA when they had many different regimes. So it's not something that he's never been through in his career, but in his WWE career for the past 6 years, it's been a stable force where he just had to prove himself to Vince. And now in a way you can kind of, in like the back of his mind, you could kind of say that maybe he has to prove himself again to Triple H. So just losing him as one of those examples, and Triple H has a lot on his hand, and this was something that a lot of people, and I said it when he first got appointed as head of creative. He's not just the head of creative. He's the EVP of talent relations. All the hats that people thought Vince was wearing too much and thus, stuff took like a back burner to stuff. Triple H has kind of taken on all those responsibilities. So it's going to be tough for him to speak to a Rey Mysterio, despite Rey being in one of the more important storylines going on Raw. He's not going to have that chance to talk to him. He'll have a chance, to talk to a Dewdrop and talk to Pete Dunne, because he has those previous relationships with them. But I can understand he has a lot on his plate. So I feel for the people that have been there and been Vince's guys. They have to kind of feel like they have to kind of prove themselves once again.
Yeah, and you'd think that, right? Like with the way the shows have shaped these past few weeks, it's quite clear that Triple H, much like AEW, I'm not saying he's copying them because he obviously had his own idea of NXT, but it's a more wrestling-based show, which a lot of fans, and I think I can say us three included, are happy to see. Don't get me wrong, I love a good bombastic storyline, but like I like to watch great wrestling as well, which is fair to say. I think WWE pay-per-views have absolutely had that, but they're week-to-week shows, maybe not so much. If you're an AJ Styles or Rey Mysterio at this point in your career, Is that what you want? I know that sounds crazy, but you know, maybe it's a great thing to be out there wrestling, but they might also be thinking, I don't know.
It depends, because a lot of people say going to wrestle to WWE is like taking a vacation. You just do big spots and rest holds. It's like, does AJ Styles want to be the AJ Styles that we know him as? You know, like the TNA and the New Japan ROH, you know, AJ Styles. Does he still have it in him? But as we've seen recently in the triple threat match that he had, that he can still produce great matches. I think guys like AJ and Rey Mysterio, they can cope with the change. They can adapt really well. I was going to ask a question. AJ Styles, was Triple H responsible for bringing him in?
Yeah, well, he handled the negotiations.
Yeah, I feel like AJ, even guys like Bobby Lashley, because I rewatched his Broken Skull interview today, and he said that it was Triple H is the one that he was speaking to that brought him back into the WWE. Because I was also worried that, like Bobby Lashley, like AJ Styles, Bobby Lashley is also seen as a Vince guy, and I was worried that he was going to lose the United States title really quickly. He could lose it tonight to AJ Styles for all we know, but for so far that we've seen, seeing a more wrestling-based show has been refreshing. But for me, the most refreshing thing for me has been seeing women starting the show, women having prominent promos, women having multiple segments in the show, and wrestling. They feel just as important as the men, and it doesn't feel jarring as well. It doesn't feel like, oh no, there's too many women. Oh, bathroom break. It feels great, compelling. I can even argue before, when Vince was in charge, that the women were carrying the whole entire company, because they had the more better storyline going on, because Vince didn't really care that much, than the men, because the men's side was just stale rematches while they were trying to do storylines. Yes, there was less women wrestling. Yes, there was a 24/7 division. But I'm saying that right now it feels refreshing in terms of more wrestling and women being prominent.
Well, I would argue as well that the women in the pandemic era, which I know is the much maligned era, but they were holding it down then. Bailey and Sasha with the Kabuki Warriors and all those iterations, like that was the best thing on the show by a mile, I felt, at that time. But you know, the numbers have been good as well. Raw got their best number in months last week, and SmackDown did a strong, I want to say 2.2 on Friday, which in this day and age is decent. You know, anything north of 2 million, I think WWE are happy about, particularly Raw, because Raw had slid into those 1.617 region. So 2.2 for them was very good. SB3, what do you attribute the increase in numbers to?
Well, to the it was first the SummerSlam after Raw that did the 2.2. Last week did 1.9. I think it is. It's the excitement. It's the excitement and the optimism that WWE has for the first time in many, many years. I think that's what it really comes down to. We're in the honeymoon period, and it's, you know, I hate to do the comparison. It's similar to when AEW got CM Punk. There was a honeymoon period for a few weeks where they were getting over 1 million, and it wasn't like they were putting on, you know, better storytelling or better matches. It was just that excitement because CM Punk was there. And it's not even really an excitement of Triple H being there. It's the fact that Vince is gone. I think people are more optimistic about watching WWE because Vince is gone. It's something that they haven't seen in 40 years, is someone at the head of the helm that isn't Vince McMahon on WWE television. And we're getting more wrestling, and that the numbers kind of benefit the fact that he's putting more of a focus on the professional wrestling part more than the sports entertainment. Like the matchup with Gunther and Shinsuke Nakamura was great on SmackDown this past week, and we're not going to get those type of matches under the helm of Vince McMahon. It might be one, like sometimes you will, but the fact that it was not only just a great match, it was a great build up to the match throughout the show. You had the video package that focused on the importance of the Intercontinental Championship. You got a video package on both guys to get them over. You got promos from both guys. Like, that's the type of focus and stuff that I ask for on all of wrestling. If you're going to make something the main event, make it feel important throughout the show. And that's what they did on SmackDown.
It's worth me noting at this point, guys, if you want to give a donation to the show, ITR Tips is the place to go, itrtips.com. And of course, you can do a super chat right here if it's easier for you on YouTube, and we will read out whatever you want to say or want us to talk about on the show, what you want us to do within reason. Please feel free. And also in the live chat, feel free to ask your questions, be it wrestling or not, for the three of us. I'm sure we can always get a convo going for you. But also, while you're here watching the show, like, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff. Please bring it on. Man, let's keep moving with the AEW talk now, away from WWE a little bit. Sat, I'll start with you, man. Punk's back. Now, Punk Moxley is a legitimate huge matchup for AEW to build towards All Out. I did see a certain wrestling journalist named Sean Ross Sapp tweet an Omega gif not long ago. I'm wondering, listen, do we think Omega is being brought in for the six-man, for the trios tag titles? Sid, what do you think?
SP wants to, but yeah, SP
Yeah,
first
that the reason he put the GIF and the timing of it, I watched before we went live here. Being the elite honestly, it's becoming appointment television again. It's becoming appointment watching
Really?
for
I
AEW
should watch
fans
again.
because it connects the dots to everything. Like they did a whole little promo with the Hangman and the Dark Order before the segment we saw on SmackDown on the show, where the Dark Order was kind of like telling them, kind of like you know, it's cool if you want to be friends with the Young Bucks. You know, we saw you save them. It's cool if you want to be friends with them. We will understand. We just all want us to be friends because the Dark Order just want the best for Hangman. So it made more sense of why Hangman responded to the Young Bucks the way he did, with I'm gonna be in their corner, and it's the long-term storytelling with everything. But most of all was the last line that Hangman said to him was the first hint. The last line that Hangman said to the Young Bucks during that segment was, "You need a partner that hasn't turned their back on you." And that, you had Brandon Cutler think they're talking about him, but no, there's one person that has never turned their back on the Young Bucks, and the end being the elite. You had Matt Jackson. You had Matt Jackson in his house. He was just on his couch, and then the phone rang, and he's on the phone with somebody, and he's like, "Oh, wait, are you sure? Are you sure you're ready?" And then the show ended, went to black, and all you heard was the first riff of Battle Cry. So that's why that Sean Ross Sapp put the GIF up, because it's a very open-ended thing. It's Kenny Omega. It's basically the same build-up they did for CM Punk's return last year, where they're telling you, but they ain't telling you.
What of Hangman Page in this story then, if Kenny returns?
I've said this, and I'm going to say it again. It's going to be Dark Order versus the Elite at All Out for the trio.
I want Hangman back with the Bucks. I want that.
The way to get back to the Bucks, it's because the riff really started after their tag team matchup at Revolution 2020. There was the build up to that where you saw the dissension, but the real riff happened after the fact. They need to have another match against each other. So what I'm saying is Dark Order is going to find a way to make themselves to the finals. Maybe in the first round, they'll make it by House of Black because they have too many issues. Miro, Sting, Darby Allin. But Evil Uno will get injured. Then they'll make it by Trustbusters because Tony seems to love them for some
Slim
reason.
J. Who is Slim J?
It's not even Slim J. I'm sorry. I will say it here. I was being optimistic about the former Harlan Parker Boudreaux, but this man moves in the ring like he got two left feet. He is green as goose. He's green as my kids, when they have the runs. But it's very bad. It's very bad. I'm happy for Sonny Kiss, but the Trustbusters, no. That was one of the worst episodes of Rampage because they focused on the Trustbusters. Well, how is this company made of trios and the Trustbusters?
You know what? It makes sense. It makes sense. Tony Khan has never met a mediocre white man he never wanted to sign. He's like,
God, why do you always do this? Why do you have to?
Fred Yehai. I get Fred Yehai. No, Fred Yehai probably wrestling Dark. Let's get a look at him. Nah, Slim J. Who the heck is Slim J? Who? Someone tell me. Some indie smart people tell me.
Anyway, getting back to my point, Dark Order makes it to the semis, and then 10 gets injured, so it's only down to Silver and Reynolds, and then Hangman has to step in. He has to fill in the spot for the Dark Order. So we get Silver, Reynolds, and Hangman versus Kenny and the Young Bucks in the finals, and it will be a classic trios match.
It is worth saying, Sat, that Tony Khan had openly said he would wait for Kenny to do the trios. So it seems a given that he's going to be involved in this some way or another. And everything that SB3 is saying, whether it happens exactly that way or not, it is kind of leading towards Kenny and the Bucks, is it not?
It is, but imagine if the original plan happened. You had the Undisputed Elite versus the Elite, because you know that was probably the original plan before the injuries, and they had to pivot. So I feel like, for me, they should stop being humble. The Elite should be the first champion. Heck, that's what they've been waiting for. Give him the title, and then when the Undisputed Elite come back, have bangers of trios matches, baby. So yeah, I'm excited about it. Kenny Omega had a year out, you know, to get well, for people to miss him, to appreciate his title reign, to appreciate his promos, to appreciate his sense of humor, because not everyone got it. And now when he comes back, it'll be like, oh, yay, Kenny Omega's back. It's a fresh main eventer to thrust into the scene, probably down the line. Next year could be CM Punk versus Kenny Omega, possibly. I don't know. Don't want to jump ahead, but to answer your question, yes, this is great. Give a Trios title to the Elite. And yeah, Dark Order, God bless them, wherever they do next.
So what's the deal with the Undisputed Elite then? Like, because they turned on the Bucks, but clearly they're not. Is it just a timing thing? Do we think because the trios tournament is now, so they had to make the separation?
You saw the Young Bucks; they were in limbo. They were like, "Oh yeah, we don't have our friends with us." They couldn't do this part of the storyline with Kenny and so forth. With that, I think that was the piece. The turn was the ingredient for the six man title, for the trio.
I get it, but it's like you said, it's just it's a bit sucks, doesn't it? Right? If you can't then go in that direction with the trios match, that's what you want. You want the Undisputed Elite versus the Elite. That's what everybody wants.
They could argue
it's going to be a while until you get that.
That's the intrigue, because in a lot of ways, instead of like putting all the cards on the table, at least they got something for down the line for people to look forward to. Is the anticipation, because we anticipate Kenny's return. Now it's come back. The Undisputed Elite is not there. So that when is Adam coming back? When are they? It's just like, when are they coming back now? That's the hook now. Because when you get the trios title, what's next? Yeah, you got trios title. You don't want it to be like the women's title. It's like, what do you do with the women's tag titles afterwards? You need to have that sort of anchor, that hook, that no pun, that keeps you moving.
It's kind of what WWE is doing with the women's tag team title tournament. They could have made it with Sasha and Naomi in it, but no, they're doing the tournament first and then probably having Sasha and Naomi come back, because that's how you have something coming out of the tournament. So for AEW, it's something similar where it's really building up to a showdown of Hangman and the Dark Order versus his friends in the Elite. We can have that matchup. We can have a show of respect, or they can do more foreshadowing of like Hangman faking out the buckshot lariat like he did at Revolution 2020. They can do all that type of stuff, and there's something coming out of that as well that you can continue on. Hangman could find new members of the Dark Order to go against the Elite, but then you also got the shadow of the Undisputed Elite, and that's the match that you go to at Full Gear. If they're all healthy, now you have a big trios title match for that pay-per-view.
You hope so. John Jay says, one of the Bucks also had a Backstreet Boys t-shirt on from the concert they attended with Kenny on being the Elite. Just another little detail to foreshadow Kenny coming back. And another thing to think about there is a lot of us, myself included, really wanted FTR versus Young Bucks for all the belts, right? It seemed like a ripe time to do that. And instead we pivot away, and Keith Lee and Swerve have now got the belts. Missed opportunity, yay or nay? What should supersede at this point?
I think it's Omega and the Bucks. That's the thing to come back to. And you don't want to push Kenny too much, because this man was walking around knackered for 3 years basically. So putting him in trios matches where he can lean on Matt and Nick for a little while, that's the best way to kind of ease him back into, like Sat said, in a year from now he's going to be back in the main event scene. We all know that, but the way to bring him back now is to have him lean on his best friends in Matt and Nick. And I just love that, John Jay. That's a great comment, because I did peep that as well, and I did think about that as well. But also, it's the thing with the segment with the Hangman choosing to be in the corner of the Dark Order over being with the Young Bucks, because the whole story started at All Out 2019 when he had his match with Jericho for the first ever AEW World Championship, and he asked the Young Bucks, will you be in my corner? And the Young Bucks turned him down. So now he's turning down the Young Bucks to be in somebody's corner. It's just long-term storytelling.
That's some video
Exactly.
essay information I'm getting right now. God, I forgot about that. And also, we're getting Kenny Omega of First Year AEW, the one everyone's begging to be in the main event scene. Was Kenny in a tag team? Was he the one winning the title? Why is he laid Angels a few minutes in the ring? That
And then he
Kenny-
won every belt. Then he won every single
Why
belt.
is he winning all the belts?
Why is he on the championship?
He
Why?
can't
Oh
win.
my God, he's the EVP. They were
Can-
like, why is the Young Bucks not tag team champions? Then they win the tag team title. Oh, they've
Oh
been
my
the
gosh.
champions too
Can I-
long.
Can I just say this? I'm glad Sue and Chris noticed this because I was chuckling to myself for like 20 seconds. I've never heard an American say knackered. ever. And the way he said it, like knackered. So I was like, look at the way he said it. So he's knackered out here. I was like, whoa.
Is it English
I love
weather?
But like some of these colloquialisms get lost. Like I remember I was on a pod with Denise, and I said, "Oh, he's gagging to win this," and she was like, "You can't say gagging in America. What's that about?" I mean, I know what it's about, but it's a very usual term.
Americans are weird. That you know, spunk. He's got spunk in him. She's got spunk in her. And in the UK, that means something completely different.
We're breaking down all barriers on this show.
Who says spunk? Who says like
Jim Ross got a little spunk. That kid got spunk. Spunk.
I mean,
Like,
you're
when they got
referencing
energy.
someone who's like 70 years old. I mean,
Exactly. Who's still on TV? That says a lot. No offense. I love JR. We know why he's on TV because you know it's lonesome sometimes at home. But yeah, that's the kind of verbiage we get.
He still brings value sometimes. I think Excalibur is the
Jesus.
MVP, and I like that Taz is there all the time now. But
I think Tony.
Shivani,
Tony's the
thank
MVP
you.
for me. Tony's
Shivani,
the MVP for me.
thank you. Shivani and
I like
Taz.
Excalibur. I think he's underrated, Excalibur.
Oh no. Excalibur
He
is incredible. I'm saying that Excalibur is like that's his domain. Taz and Tony Schiavone are happy to be there. JR's like, man, I missed the old days. Christian and Matt Hardy. Christian and Matt, I know these guys.
But the second JR tries to when the Acclaim come out and he's like, listen. And everyone's going like, oh, what's JR doing? And I'm like, leave him alone. Let him try.
No,
God
I'm
damn
starting
it.
to understand why Vince used to handle him because now you let him free. He's sulky left, right, and center. He's
Yeah,
like,
not just-
oh, you're smart, huh? You're smart. He's like, I don't know. He's like this bitter uncle. Maybe he's not. Maybe it's a sarcasm people are not used to. People are used to the straight laced JR.
If you listen to JR's pod, I
have. He's
I
sulky
think
like that.
it's very clear when he does or doesn't like things. Anyway, let me rewind this for a second back to the point that SB3
Sorry.
made.
Sorry.
No, I had taken it away. Sorry. Sasha and Naomi coming back potentially at the end of that tag team tournament. You know, if they do come back, there's no way that there aren't future plans laid out because, frankly, that's half the reason they walked away. But presumably, Io and Dakota, are they the winners? And then, you got the stare down with Sasha and Naomi potentially. And then you've got obviously Bailey, who's got history with everyone. Is that the route? Is that where we're going?
Yeah.
I hope
I think so.
Yes, that has to be the way. I feel like with Triple H, because of his NXT body of work, he knows how to tell storylines. He knows how to appease the crowd, or he knows what the fans want. That's the whole point. Vince lost it. He stopped caring. He's like, audience of one. I'm in my 70s. I got my billions. I don't care. Triple H needs this. Kind of like Tony Khan. He's now in the same spot as Tony. Yeah, he knows the moment he F's up, Triple H knows the moment he gets bad will, bad ratings, Vince will be on the phone. Get him out. He stinks. Get him out. Put Bruce back in there. Bruce, you're back in charge. Look at it. Look at the ratings. It stinks. So Triple H needs to do this. Io and Dakota as his big projects is his proving ground. That's like his stamp. That's his flag. That's his flag saying I'm arrived. So
I don't think Vince could get rid of him if he wanted to now, majority shareholder or not.
You know what? No. I know where you live. I know where you live, you piece of crap.
No. Crap. You know who's not one of his projects? Liv Morgan.
How can you tell?
She was in his show. She was in NXT.
Yes, she was.
Yeah,
yes, she was.
Papa Hate Your Show. Yeah, well.
She wasn't doing much there.
NXT.
She's turning heel, right? I mean, Ronda's still flipping Tweener, whatever.
Ronda was over like Rover on SmackDown, but
yeah,
I'm just saying,
she was.
like, he totally botched that whole segment. Like that segment was going so well. Ronda comes off like a badass baby face, gets one of her biggest pops yet. Shayna comes out, cuts a really good promo. Liv comes out, she seems more comfortable, and the fans were actually cheering her. Then you have Shayna do the same move that injured Dakota Kai, Nia Jax, numerous other women, and Liv Morgan basically no-sold it to do a Stratisfaction, the worst looking Stratisfaction I've ever seen, to a table that was like 15 feet away. So basically Shayna had to put herself through the table so Liv could stand tall. I was just like, how did he mess this segment up?
And that's something, by the way, because early Trish Stratus was not good. So you know, I mean, seriously, go back and watch it. It was not good.
Watch.
You know, she got good. Trish is a big favorite of mine, but you know, goddamn, those early days were not pretty. Still, I did like the little Shayna Ronda interaction after Ronda's promo, and then they, you know, at the top of the ramp. It's not even a ramp anymore, is it? But you know what I mean.
Yeah, the platform or whatever.
Yeah, there you go.
You used to be a killer.
I hit hard. That hit hard because those words. I'm like, that's not Shayna's words. You can't do that around here. You who on your debut you bit into Becky Lynch. You are the moral compass of this company.
Can't do that, Ronda.
Right?
Yeah, but still, like the tease of them two having something works for me. Again, I know we're all over the place here. I've got a Kenny point I want to get to, but I also want to quickly talk about this tournament. I'm a bit disappointed that Doudrop and Nikki are on the same side of the brackets as Io and Dakota, because I felt like they could have done with a strong run. Who do you think from the other side gets to the final with Io and Dakota?
I'm thinking Lions and Stark.
You are? I've seen a lot of people make that case just because, you know, it's kind of like one is not like the other. And, you know, I say fine. WWE, Triple H has a habit of trying to like make, you know, what do you think, Sat? Who you thinking?
Stark and Nikita, because we did an NXT show. We're very familiar with their work. Nikita Lyons wrestles like Meng, like Haku. Nikita Lyons wrestles like Haku. She does cravat kicks and SP back me up. She wrestles like Haku because she got a martial arts background. She does great kicks. Yeah,
she got the hips like Haku, but she does moves like Sean Waltman though. She does the Sean Waltman type of like
what a hybrid. What a hybrid on paper. God damn, yeah.
And Zoe Stark is fundamentally sound. She will be the ring general, probably taking the heat, while Nikita does the hot tags with the kicks and the splits.
She didn't pop like she should have with Io, though, did she? Really?
That was a cringe team. I hated her with that team. And I like Io's, I do not like you, and which is she's kept that as a phrase.
Yeah. They killed them. They killed them with that sushi restaurant segment.
The diner scene, whatever that was.
The sushi restaurant. Oh my god. Zoe Stark like low-key racist and stuff. Like that was like that killed them. That killed them.
Was it low-key?
High key, tone deaf. Don't forget Triple H. Don't forget, you know, Michael Hickenbottom. You know, when he got that camera smashed into his eyes, he maybe lost some peripheral about what jokes you can and cannot do.
Nope. Once again, I'm gonna use one of my favorite catchphrases. Don't do that, Skip Bayless. That was Triple H's NXT that happened. That wasn't 2.0.
True, but the genesis of 2.0 stemmed from them cringy humor, them segments. You know what I'm saying? We saw it. It was pivoting. When it was going downhill, nobody liked Black and Gold's too dark. It gets to find them one day. They were complaining it was too dark. Yes, that was.
I know. Triple H loves a bloody car park. But, I mean, more to SB3's point, the Black and Gold NXT was, obviously Shawn Michaels was part of the team, but it was Triple H's. Then when Triple H went sick, Shawn Michaels has since said that he was running that show. And as far as I'm aware, although Triple H was involved, Shawn Michaels has always been handling NXT UK and their tapings. Coincidentally, that brings me on to another point. Their tapings were cancelled recently. Pretty much the start of the Premier League season plays a factor in that because the BT studios aren't as readily available as they once were. The fact that they were cancelled so late is an alarming sign. The fact they were cancelled full stop is an alarming sign. I mean, okay, let's reschedule. Let's go. Let's figure something else out. If this was the main roster, they don't just cancel, right? That's an easy way to put it. They wouldn't just cancel. They'd figure something out. I actually haven't looked into it. Haven't got no inside info on what's particularly going on there at the moment, but I have many friends there and don't think they're, there's a lot of people in the dark from what I understand. I mean, well, again, I haven't pressed on this too much, only other than speaking to a couple of people that I know. But with Triple H now, the main roster guy, that's a terrible term, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Of course.
This local globalization he once wanted.
Oh, gosh.
It doesn't spell good for me with NXT UK now, because NXT 2.0, they don't lend to each other, do they? So what's the incentive of keeping that arm? I don't know. I'm not saying they're going to get rid of it. I honestly have no idea. I'm just saying when you're reading between the lines right now, it is a confusing space if you're NXT UK.
I heard they was going to do more excursions between the two. That's why like Briggs and Jensen are like tag champions, the UK tag champions at the moment. I thought there was going to be more.
Saray's been over there.
Yeah.
They've done a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
that was months ago they were doing that.
That's what I was about to say. These were taped 1 or 2 months back.
Yeah, like what to kind of echo what Alex is saying,
which is before Triple H inherited Vince's spot. Just to be clear.
Yep. And the Briggs and Jensen getting the tag team titles and who they chose to win the tournament kind of to me reads who they are going to put on NXT 2.0 or who's going to get called up to the main roster in the future. It sounds like to me the fact that they have no tapings booked for the rest of 2022 as of right now in the UK, it kind of tells me that Nick Khan finally remembered he had NXT UK to make some cuts. So they have a few people. I don't want to joke about that, but yeah, you have
Britt Rest is back.
That you have William Regal's son, Charlie Dempsey. He's going to be making an excursion to 2.0. Gallus is going to make a excursion to 2.0. They could always film some stuff in Orlando, but it doesn't make. There's the report from Meltzer and the Wrestling Observer newsletter was there was uneasiness among the NXT UK roster due to no tapings being booked. It doesn't really sound hopeful for the future of the brand.
Well, let's take it a step further. They're not even a part of this Cardiff weekend, right?
What?
As far as I'm aware, well, I mean, I'm not saying the talent aren't on there, but they don't have a show. There's not like a NXT UK. I know they don't do takeovers anymore, but there's not like a main show there.
Deliver.
I mean, that would that not be the easiest thing to do? Like, okay, the Motorpoint Arena on the Friday or the Sunday, like run an NXT UK show. And my understanding is that WWE are doing like fan. Not access, but similar events, right? Like there's watch parties and stuff that WWE has got going on. But there isn't, all TV. So SmackDown on the Friday is going to be taped a week beforehand. I think I said this on the show weeks ago. So if anybody would like to cite that, it is Monday Night Live. And also Raw, of course, like the WWE is shipping out the next day, gone. There is going to be no Raw in the UK. So if NXT UK can't get a show that weekend, like Jesus, I mean, you would have thought that was a given at one point. And I still look at the talent there, and I look at Blair Davenport, and there's a lot of women, in fact, you can make good use of. Amelia McKenzie or whatever. Like, there's a lot of good talent in NXT UK. Even Ilya Dragunov when he's back from his injury, like there's a lot of talent that WWE will want to keep hold of. I would even argue. I have no idea how much they would keep if NXT UK was not to be a thing anymore, but the vast majority are worth having. I just can't see where it's going. Like Sid said, nothing booked the rest of this year seems a bit troublesome. I don't know how that works with the TV schedule either. Like how's that gonna work, right? How are BT gonna then follow on? I don't know how many more weeks they've got left of things that have already been taped. Normally it's about 3 or 4 weeks, so we'll see on that one. Speaking of British talent, with Kenny Omega on the horizon, do we think we're going to get the Will Kenny angle this year?
You know what? I don't.
There's only 4 months left.
I don't even know, because I'm in the dark about it. I haven't asked about it, but I'm anticipating as you are, because I don't know if United Empire are going to win in their bracket. I don't know. It could be a one and done situation, or SP's thinking no. You think they're gonna make it through?
I don't know.
I don't think they blow. I don't think they blow Ospreay and Kenny in the trios, do they?
Yeah, I think that would be like short-sighted to give us the first interaction between them there. If they're gonna do like a Forbidden Door in Japan, I would do that for sure. The two greatest gaijins of the last 20 years against each other, or even Wrestle Kingdom. Like Will Ospreay has a plethora of feuds coming out of the G1 and stuff he's already set up between Juice Robinson, David Finlay, Shingo, Shibata, the whole angle they did at Forbidden Door. He's and Kenny, he's got plenty of options.
Explain to the less educated fans what gaijins are.
Gaijins are basically non-Japanese
foreigners.
Foreigners, yes, foreigners. Yeah, that's what the gaijin term. And when you look at gaijin history, I don't think there's many that have 19 or more 5-star matches. And Will Ospreay just went one ahead of Kenny Omega with 20 5-star matches after his classic with Shingo Takagi in the G1 climax. So
he's only 29. He's only 29. He's only 29.
I know. The only thing left that he hasn't done that Kenny has is the G1. So I'm very interested to see the finals this week.
Yeah, I mean that tournament's picked up some pace, right? It started off a bit slow, but now we've really hit top gear.
Yeah, when we talked about last week with Jonah beating Okada, that was one day after that classic between Shingo and Ospreay that was on the best card that they have. And tomorrow morning, I love still being in the UK because it starts at 10 a.m. instead of 5 a.m.
Exactly.
where I'm from. So 10 a.m. is the block finals. So you got Okada and Archer in the A block. That's going to decide who's going to the semifinals. You got Jay White and Tama Tonga in the B block. C block is going to probably come down to Naito versus Zack Sabre Jr. And then the D block, which has Ospreay, Shingo Takagi, Juice Robinson, David Finlay, Yujiro Takahashi, Yoshihashi, and El Phantasmo. All of those guys are alive. So literally on commentary, Kevin Kelly, who I actually been talking to on Twitter because he's been great in the G1, he wants it to be a 7-way tie. The first time ever a block is going to have a 7-way tie. So I'm here for it. It's been a lot of fun.
That has to happen at some stage. It has to. It's too easy not to. Tom Talks the Rubbish, one of the YouTube's finest in the UK, wishing you all the best day possible. Big love. All the love to you, my friend Tom. I will get on your show in the coming weeks. I've been very busy in the new job, but we might be able to work something out next week. I'll get hold of you. While we're at it as well, there is a tip from Matty, who says, "Hey, Sat, SB3, and Alex, how are you all? I'm enjoying the Triple H era. Very refreshing. I was thinking, do you think there is anyone who is regretting, if that's the right word, going to AEW, leaving WWE? Now Triple H is," he says uncharged, but I think he means in charge. Of course, nobody could have predicted this. I mean, that's the key point, what you said at the end right there. I honestly think Adam Cole would have thought twice if this was the landscape when he left. Not to say that he made a bad decision, because I seem to be one of the few that very much enjoy Adam Cole in AEW. But I do think he would have thought a hell of a lot harder if Triple H was the guy, because Triple H booked him nothing but, gave him all the leeway to do all the things that Sat hates. So I think, Kenny hates, sorry, that's probably fairer. But I still don't know if he would have not done it. But it would have been a lot harder for him to go, I think, if Triple H was there. I don't think like a Miro would have stayed necessarily. Aleister Black might have done. I don't know. Ruby Riott. I think Ember Moon might have stayed. It's hard. Is there any obvious ones you two want to point out that you think would or wouldn't have? And then we'll circle back to Cole.
To piggyback off you in terms of Adam Cole, people are forgetting dude is in the early 30s. You can always come back in 5 years' time. And in his mind, he needed a change of landscape. And you probably wanted to catch up with the Bucks. It's been a while. Hey guys, how's it been? This is like a bigger PWG. Come on, let's do this. So I think he wanted to be closer to his girlfriend, closer to his mates. He's had his run. He's like, I did the small scale WWE. Let me try this out. And if I win the title there, done everything I need to do, I'll go back because Paul's in charge. So it's never too late. People act like he's in his 40s. He ain't 37.
No,
My guy's
no.
33.
I think he's 30. I think he's 32, 30, yeah, something like that, right?
Yeah, 1989. Yeah.
It's not too. Like I said, in 5 years, Triple H would have him, right? Like presuming that Triple H was still there, he'll have options. And I think Tony Khan has said that Adam Cole is tied down to a 5-year deal. I think the Britt Baker factor is a bigger one than people probably would like to admit. Having interviewed them both, I know that their schedules used to be, and now it's a lot more easier in their household. But I do think Triple H would have had a better shot at keeping Adam Cole. It's always harder to leave, right? Like having Adam Cole and then him walking. It's not like Triple H trying to convince him to come. You understand? I think he would have had a bigger chance, but I still think he might have ultimately gone.
Can I quickly add? I think Triple H will take both Adam and Britt if he can.
Oh God, of course
Right?
he will.
Why not?
When any of them hit the free market, I think Triple H will look to make a bigger statement as possible.
She's been AEW champion. What's more to do? He would say, "Come over here. You know, there's dream matches, plethora of dream matches. We do Evolution here, and you can open up and do a 20-minute promo."
Who's the guy who used to be in Jungle Express who got released? What's his name again?
Marco Stunt.
Yeah. Triple H is going to pick him up just because.
to be a referee. So you're gonna count like Charles Robinson.
hey now. Yep. Sid, what's your thoughts on this, man?
I would say Andrade. Andrade would have kept. Yeah, that he would have definitely kept Andrade. He would have probably booked him with Zelina Vega because both of them, both of their careers haven't skyrocketed since they separated from each other. They were always better off with each other than away from each other. So I think that's the number one person that I would say for sure. I've liked everything Adam Cole's done in, and I think people forget the fact that Adam Cole's only been here for a year. Like he didn't come into NXT in 2017 and win the NXT championship the next year. It took 2 years before he won the NXT championship. So I think that people are just thinking about his apex at NXT and not the full journey when they try to say that he's not doing much in AEW. He's been a main event of a pay-per-view. He won the Owen Hart Cup. He was a part of the lead faction in the Elite. Like he's been doing stuff. He's been treated like a top star there. It's a similar fashion to everybody that came out the woodwork when Hit Row came back on SmackDown and we're like, oh man, Swerve Strickland is probably so disappointed he's in AEW. Like this man is not AEW World Tag Team champions.
Right? I saw that tweet, right? And it is like, and I think it was Will, who obviously is his cousin, was like, this was 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago, he just won a title, and
dear God.
And if they want a veteran in Hit Row or Truth Raps, put him in Hit Row.
No, please, let's stop with this whole Hit Row needs somebody. No,
they don't. I know they don't. I was kidding.
The original idea for the group was Top Dollar, Shadi Adonis, and BFAB. Although I am one of those people that says Hit Row without Swerve is kind of like Destiny's Child without Beyonce. It's kind of like NSYNC without Justin Timberlake.
So.
It's going to be good. It is needed for the tag team division because like I complained about it after SummerSlam on this show that the tag team division had nothing after the Usos beat the Street Profits. But at least now we got a babyface team to root for to go against the Usos.
Yeah, they have replenished. It's what another thing I often think about when it comes to the Adam Cole criticism, or if people go, like you said, people might criticize Kenny for going into the trios or whatever, and it's get him in the main angle. I've got no problem with using people in different ways. I like that. Like one of the best things that ever happened to The Rock was parlaying into the Rock and Sock connection, right? Like they were trying to push Triple H in that late '99, and that Big Show was champion for a cup of tea. It was not bad for The Rock. It was great for his character, in fact, to do that. And I do think when you look at AEW and their stacked roster, the pressure's kind of on. You're going to have to push people into different angles. MJF was really the go-to guy with non-title angles for a long time. When you look at CM Punk, Jericho, etc., that could really stretch out. I think getting Kenny in the trios would be a smart decision. But then you've still got to figure out what's the Blackpool Combat Club going to look like when Danielson's back regularly? Moxley's got the interim championship. CM Punk's up there. There's nothing
That's another
wrong.
dream match for the elite. in the
Exactly.
Trios division.
Exactly. FTR and CM Punk, get them together. I don't know. Like, there's so many things you can do with AEW. I just caution everyone. Come on. There's a lot you can spread it around the card. There's one of my favorite things about Dynamite is pretty much every segment that comes on. Like, I'm interested. There's people you're invested in every segment. It's not like where sometimes WWE, okay, it's a 3-hour show, but they'll be like, oh, okay, here comes Omos. I wonder what's going to happen against these two local jobbers. And I'm just kind of like, I've seen this a million times. Yes, Zach.
Is this a safe space to talk?
Always.
Guys, I need your help.
Oh, no.
What happened to America's Top Team?
It went.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. It went. No, all of a sudden, come on, AMAC. All of a sudden, we got Ethan Page by himself. Where's Scorpio Sky? That means they wasted an opportunity to turn Scorpio Sky babyface. Because now, what's Scorpio gonna do? Just randomly be a face with Frankie or whatever?
Ethan Page is going with Stokely, right?
I hope not. Stokely's getting weird people into his group. Private Party's right there. Right there.
It must
They're
be
better
a
heels than faces.
I trust Stokely's vision.
Ass Boys. Then Ass Boys in his group. I don't trust his judgment. He's giving anyone cards. I can walk by and he'd be like, "Hey, brother, you black. You look a bit jacked. Here's a card."
Stop. Stop. Would you stop with the black and whiteness? Oh,
no. Ethan Page, I don't mind. He fits. Ass Boys, they got the daddy. Let him stick with the daddy. I just don't understand. Okay, again, it's not talk. What happened to America's Top Team? What happened to the bigot comments? What happened to the cringe, takes? Where's Lambert? Where is he?
It's all you literally just said why they're gone. People complained about it. One thing Tony Khan does do is when people complain about something too long, he just gets rid of it. And sometimes
I'm sorry,
there's no explanation.
Dan Lambert has been there for so long that you can call him a future AEW Hall of Famer because his contributions to the company with great angles such as Brandy and Cody, such angles as Sammy and Tay Naramello. He's a Hall of Famer now because he's been there for long. He's put his imprint. He's got the Lakers TNT
He's
title.
Literally been there for a year, Alex.
I am going to tweet out what Sid has said. Dan Lambert is an AEW Hall of Famer and see what people say.
No, that wasn't me. That was Seth. That was Seth.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. All right, Seth, I will tweet it out.
America's Top Team. What happened to them? They were missing.
I'm with Sid. I would like some closure, maybe, but I'm.
So I'm saying, Sid, you want that? You want some closure? He's been such a big part of the company. For me, I would understand if he was there for 2 weeks. If it's like a Slim J, he disappears tomorrow. Slim J's gone. I don't care. Listen, I don't get him. I don't get the early 2000s. The upside down hat. Who is he?
You've gotten Slim J more over than anyone because you keep mentioning him.
Why are you so obsessed?
He's moved on. He's moved on from one crappy stable in America's Top Team to another with the Trust Busters. Let him go through the course
I didn't mind America's Top Team. I got a soft spot for them
before people start complaining about. But Dan Lambert's going to be back whenever Paige Van Sant is decided.
I was about to say that's. I was literally just about to say that. That's the only real incentive to bring him back to TV, I guess, is he will manage her, and I assume she'll get a fairly strong push out the gate. Because her and Ty were meant to really do something which hasn't happened yet.
Well, they did the six person tag.
They did, but I meant
Alex. This is how crazy I am. Okay, we watch wrestling in the 90s, right? Mid 90s. Why did Vader and Jim Cornette break up? To this day, I still never got an answer. I'm that guy. I'll complain about America's Top Team 5 years down the line. Like, what happened there? I like closure. If there's no closure, I stay up at night thinking about things. I'll be like, why did all of a sudden Jeff Jarrett lose Southern Justice? He had two guys there.
I've lost no sleep over American Top Team not being on TV. But there, alas.
Because Tony said he wraps things up. Tony's doing a WWE on me. Just forget about it. It didn't happen. Any explanation.
He didn't wrap up Nightmare Collective.
Oh, that sucked so hard in the beginning. That was so bad.
Exactly.
Enough. Let's
Sorry.
let's try and polish this show off with what the title has said. I'm not even particularly sure what Meltzer and Jericho have been doing on Twitter. Does anybody know?
Yeah, I checked it out. It's about
Okay.
the ad break thing, about how Jericho had the lion tamer on Moxley for a while during the ad
Right.
break.
Yeah.
Raj Giri,
Raj Giri.
and Dave had a back and forth about it. They're both agreeing how it kind of diminished the move a bit. And Jericho's like, I disagree with both of you guys, and I'll debate it.
Cool. I mean, Meltzer had just been on Jericho's podcast, funnily enough. And I've seen it that he was saying things like Vince told me about, pitched the Vince pitched the WCW invasion angle and stuff like that. And everyone was like, is that how it happened, Dave? Or maybe it was. Who knows? But anyway, check out that on Jericho's podcast if you are a Meltzer fan. Not much to say there then. Jericho is happy to call. I mean, I can see what Jericho means. I guess it means more. Like if you watch it through the side by side, I saw Stephanie Chase make that argument that that's a lot to battle with. If you leave the ad break, seeing him in that, and then you come back like you would have done in America, he's still battling it. Speaks more to the me in bed. It speaks more to the toughness of Moxley, than the move being. That would be my interpretation.
That was my interpretation too. Like I thought that that was one of the more captivating parts, and it made me switch from the TBS version to the fight version because I wanted to see him fight throughout the walls of Jericho. So yeah, it was cool in my book. I'm kind of on the side of what Steph was saying, what Jericho said.
Let's close up then. Punk and Moxley. Right. Where are we going, Sat? What's the right decision here? Does Punk take it from Moxley? Because, and I'm going to put myself in this camp too, there are a lot of people that believe Moxley has been doing the title justice since he got a hold of it. He's been having a resurgent run, of course. We know he took a break early this year, but the man's been having straight bangers. Nobody can deny this. What do you want? Do you want the nostalgia of Punk and that magic moment? Has that ship sailed? There are a lot of different factors in play.
Okay, this is gonna ruffle some feathers, maybe. Punk
you
coming back.
Ruffle feathers. I won't have it. I won't have it.
So that I feel like Punk's comeback is symbolic of what I've been feeling like the whole time. Moxley builds up a title. Punk's gonna walk on by and take all the glory. I'm the headliner. I get the ratings. I'm the man. That's the logic behind it. To answer your question, I want Moxley to keep it because Moxley's been having a banger year. But at the same time, we've seen what Moxley can do. We know what Moxley title reign is. We also need to see what a Punk title reign is. We know what Moxley can do. A Moxley title reign is what I wanted for Hangman, just to say, by the way. I don't understand why one guy is away for like a month or doing commentary and one guy's wrestling every week. I want that for everyone. But to answer your question, my heart is saying Moxley, but the wrestling brain, as SP will say, it has to go to Punk because we need to see it. It's the journey. How can you fumble the journey? This would be like the Ozark finale. You can't fumble now. You have to see it through. Better Call Saul tonight. Will they fumble as well? We don't know. So yes, put it out on Punk just because it's meant to be the summer of Punk, even though it's a bit too late. Put it on Punk. We got here. This is the journey, this destination. Because the other people, you didn't put it on Punk. You put him out of retirement and you made him lose. Where?
I thought the Ozark finale was going well until the very end. But anyway, SB3, what do you think? Because I'm actually inclined to agree with Sat. Like, what my head and my heart say are very similar.
Yeah, I'm with what Sat's saying, but can I just say, Jon Moxley is the 2022 best wrestler of the year so far. Like I'm just saying, when you look at his catalog, you had Bryan Danielson at Revolution, you had Biff Busick at Bloodsport, you had him and Tom Lawler for Defy, him and Ospreay in New Japan, the Tanahashi match at Forbidden Door. He was a part of Blood and Guts and Anarchy in the Arena.
He's
the Wheeler Yuta
snogging
match.
Effie.
Oh my god, yes, Snoggin Effie. He's got the biggest GCW match of all time against Nick Gage, title versus career coming up, and this match with CM Punk. I don't like to do comparisons, but I'm gonna say it. it's significantly more important and feels bigger than Drew McIntyre versus Roman Reigns. I'm sorry.
course.
They're on the same weekend, so it begs to the comparison. It just feels like when they went face to face on Dynamite Quake by the Lake, it just felt like this is the biggest match in wrestling. This is the biggest because God.
No, I was about to say what's interesting with that though is I don't know who will win out of Punk and Moxley. I can make a case for either. And that's when wrestling's at its best, where you're like, shit, I don't actually know which way. They could go either way, and you can make cases. I don't think anyone really believes McIntyre will beat Reigns, and that's what hurts that.
I think Tony Khan does not want to hurt CM Punk's feelings. So we give him the title. Please, CM Punk holds grudges. You'll be like, oh, it's fine. It's fine. I understand. It's 6 months later. He's getting ready for his exit. I'm doing a film now. Phil, we need you. Oh, I got another film. I need to do another comic book. I got another convention coming through. So yeah, Punk has to win because Tony knows Punk will hold a grudge. Yeah, he can't go back to WWE wherever because Paul Levesque's there. But Punk would be like, it's my run. You promised me the title. He promised him the title. He can't
I
be
think
a
most of all with Moxley, he has other things he can do. Like we talked about, he could be in the trios with the Blackpool Combat Club. They seemed like they were leading to him and Danielson going after the AEW World Tag Team titles. So I think that the best move is for Punk to win, but you got to have a hook because it's gonna feel like a letdown to a lot of people that have been getting behind Moxley. You got to have a hook for what's next. So I think Punk wins in Chicago. And then we get the return of MJF, and he is the guy they set up as the next challenger for CM Punk.
In a perfect world, I think that's right. I am still unsure exactly how much bad blood there is. I mean, there's definitely some, but I mean, I'm not sure if he's off TV with the plan of, okay, and then this, or he's just off TV. Anyway. That's a close to Monday Night Live this week. Thank you to my brothers SP3 and Sa'i Niangi for joining me and flanking me on this edition of the show on ITR Clips. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. We always appreciate your great company on the show in the live chat. Thank you again. Good sirs. We will be back, of course, next Monday, 8 p.m. They've got some interesting stuff coming up. We were talking about that wrestling weekend. I will be in Wales for Clash at the Castle, hopefully doing a show of my own and some coverage on the Friday with some interviews. SP3, you're not planning to be all out, are you?
I'm being in Chicago.
Look, this show has got everyone covered that weekend. Sam, what are you doing, man, on your couch?
I might go to Wrestle Talks watch-along party in Shoreditch.
That's enough. That is enough. So there you have it, guys. We have got you covered on this show. Make sure you stay tuned. Make sure you go to Inside the Ropes channel right now and watch the Rey Mysterio interview. It's good. Listen to me when I tell you it's good. We got lots of little clips coming out of that as well. One of the favorite interviews I've done in recent memory. So make sure you check it out. Fellas, before we depart, do you want to tell the fine people here at ITR Clips where they can see you this week if need be?
I'll be in my bed. I'll see you next Monday.
That's a great place to be.
Lovely stuff. Lovely stuff. Well, tomorrow I wanted to put this out in the open. I wanted to put it on air, Alex, because this morning or afternoon, wherever you are, I told Jeremy Lambert my Occupy Pillar to Post movement will not end until Alex McCarthy, the rifle Pillar to Post champion, is back on the show. Mm-hmm. And he gives me a fair opportunity to win and doesn't screw me over. I've been screwed over more times than Gianna Michaels on a Bang Bros bus.
Oh god,
it's been very vile how many times I've been screwed over.
I couldn't even know Sel like I didn't know who Gianna Michaels was. I know who she is. I know she is. Damn it,
she's in my phase 5. She's in my phase 5. Shuck and duck it.
So Alex, let me know when you can be on Pillar to Post, because that's when I will make my return to Pillar to Post.
I'm taking my kids to London tomorrow. It's their first day in the capital. They're very excited about it. But I might get home in time to make my return to the show. But I will only do so when SB3 is treated correctly. Damn it. With that, Monday Night Live, we are up for time this week. I don't know if the broadcast will finish like we tried to make it finish last week. But we've appreciated your your hospitality, for having us on your screens this week. And we will see you next week here on ITR Clips. Have a good week.